Okay, let's go.
The Hook, a kiss that kills. In the sparkling, ambitious America of the Roaring Twenties, it was an honor to glow. The job was coveted, patriotic, and paid 3 times what a factory girl could usually earn. Working for the U.S. Radium Corporation, these young women, mostly teenagers, painted watch and clock dials with a miraculous new substance, a powder that shone like captured starlight. Radium. They called themselves the Ghost Girls because the fine, luminous dust covered their hair, their faces, and their clothes. They used it to paint designs on their own fingernails and teeth, turning their smiles into dazzling momentary spectacles for their boyfriends. They would leave the factory at night, their bodies faintly shimmering in the dark, a literal expression of their newfound status. Their boss, a man named Arthur Roeder, assured them the paint was harmless. Harmless. The astonishing, terrifying truth, which corporate executives and scientists knew but concealed, was that they were painting with pure, lethal poison. To perfect the fine, delicate numbering on the tiny dials, the girls were instructed to lip point their brushes, a practice that required them to wet the camel hair bristles with their tongue to achieve a needle-sharp tip. With every stroke of the brush, with every innocent, glowing kiss of the paint, the radium was ingested. It settled in their bones, a slow-burning atomic fire. It took years, but that glittering substance, once mistaken for magic, would begin to crack their teeth, shatter their jaws, and turn the beautiful young women into an army of the walking dead. Their final, astonishing battle would not be against a disease, but against the powerful American corporation that chose profit over human life. This is the story of the Radium Girls, the factory workers who had to die so that America could live in safety. Chapter 1. The Best Job in Town. Orange, New Jersey, 1917. The air inside the Luminous Materials studio was Mr. Pancoast chuckled, a soft, encouraging sound. "Ah, but wait until the lights go out, Miss Fryer. It's magic. It's radium." Radium. The word had the ring of distant royalty and cutting-edge science. Marie and Pierre Curie had only discovered it a couple of decades ago, and the world had been obsessed ever since. Radium cured cancer. Radium invigorated the body. Radium, they said, was the element of endless life. A shot of it was being sold as a tonic for the wealthy. It was a wonder drug. "You'll be using a brush, size 0, Mr. Pancoast instructed, placing a delicate brush with long camel hair bristles into her hand. "The work is detailed. We need a fine point, always." He leaned in, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial but standard instruction, a routine that had been passed down from the scientists who created the paint and then passed on through the foreman and finally, innocently, to the girls. "The key to speed and precision is the brush. The bristles must be sharp, so when the point dulls, you do this." He mimed the action with a dry brush, a quick, almost flirtatious gesture. Lip, dip, paint. He was instructing her to shape the brush using her lips. The quickest way to get a fine tip was to draw the brush between them. "It saves time, Miss Fryer, and time is money," he said. "It's perfectly safe, of course, absolutely harmless. In fact, some of the ladies say it gives their cheeks a lovely, healthy color." Grace felt a small thrill of independence. She was now part of an elite workforce, a secret society of girls who handled pure, glowing science. A few hours later, in the late afternoon, the foreman called for a scheduled 5-minute break. The main lights were cut. And then, the magic began. In the sudden, heavy dark, the studio exploded with light. Not the harsh yellow glare of electric bulbs, but a soft, ethereal, pale green luminescence.
Every surface the girls had touched, every workbench, every discarded piece of parchment, every single watch dial they had just finished, shone. The girls themselves were glowing. Their fingers, their palms, the fronts of their aprons, and their mouths, where the radium paint had dusted their lips and tongues, all of it shimmered. A giggle rippled through the room. A girl named Catherine leaned over and painted a small luminous flower on her cheek. Another girl, May, licked her brush one last time, turned to her friend, and gave a glowing, radioactive smile. They were the Radium Girls, the most envied workers in America, and they literally shone with success. None of them knew that every speck of that beautiful green light was a tiny shard of glass settling in their bones, preparing for a long, slow harvest of agony. The light they loved was the countdown to their own deaths. Chapter 2. The Slow Fire Begins. In the months that followed, life at the Luminous Materials Corporation plant settled into a rhythm defined by the silent, mesmerizing glow of radium. The work was constant, propelled by the demands of the war machine, and the girls, Grace Fryer, Catherine Schaub, Quinta MacDonald, and the rest, relished their status. They were the highest-paid working women in Orange, New Jersey, and they earned every penny with their speed and precision. Their technique was mechanical, a habit ingrained by the piece rate system: lip, dip, paint. A jar of the pale, unassuming powder, when mixed with a binder, became the precious, sought-after luminous paint. They only used a tiny brush, and to achieve the fine point needed for the small numbers on a watch face, their lips were the fastest, cheapest tool. It became a factory dance, a brush to the mouth, a touch to the luminous pot, a quick, steady stroke onto the dial, then another brush to the mouth. 500 dials a day, 500 brushes licked. The undark paint was more than just a pigment, it was a badge of honor. The girls would hold up their finished